It was Thursday evening when Bob sat down at the kitchen table, his eyes fixed on the half-empty Miller Lite in front of him. He had only grabbed a six-pack from the store, just in case things got ugly. No point in having enough to get drunk if the night ended up going south. Upstairs, he heard the music cut off. That meant Sharon was almost done getting ready. Thursdays had become routine in their household. Bob stayed late at work finishing off weekly reports so he could sneak out early on Fridays to have more time with the family. His parents usually picked up their daughter, Casey, and Sharon would head out for drinks with her co-workers. Her bachelorette night, she called it. On paper, it was the perfect balance. Everyone got a little breathing room. His schedule opened up just enough to spend Fridays with Casey. His parents got their weekly granddaughter fix. Sharon had her space. It was all clean and tidy. At least that's what he'd thought. He heard footsteps heading toward the upstairs bathroom. The sound triggered a memory. Lunch with Vicky just a couple of days ago. I should really go back to that deli, Bob thought to himself, or check if they deliver. Those sandwiches were unreal. That Tuesday, he'd shown up early to the restaurant and grabbed a table near the window. He wanted a clear view of the door. After a few minutes, a familiar silhouette stepped through the entrance. She looked around, clearly searching for someone. He stood up and waved her over. She spotted him and walked across the room, weaving through the tables. At 31, Vicky was the oldest friend in Sharon's tight-knit group. Bob had always liked her the most. She was married, level-headed, and never tried to dominate the conversation like the others. She had this graceful presence, dark wavy hair, soft porcelain skin, legs for days. She wasn't exactly stacked, but her face was stunning, and her whole vibe just radiated calm confidence. Her husband Ron treated her like she was gold, and from the outside, their marriage looked rock solid. As she pulled out the chair across from him and sat down, a few guys at nearby tables couldn't help but glance in her direction. "Thanks for meeting me, Bob," Vicky said, locking eyes with him. "I know how slammed you are lately, and I really appreciate you taking the time. I know this isn't easy." No problem, Vicky," Bob said, shifting slightly in his seat. "But I gotta admit, I feel kind of weird meeting you here without Sharon. Doesn't really feel right having lunch with a beautiful woman who isn't my wife." He chuckled lightly, trying to make it sound like a joke. "But you said this was about Sharon, so you've got my attention. I'm guessing this is about some kind of surprise for her birthday next month?" Bob smiled as he spoke, but that smile faded fast when he caught the expression on Vicky's face. Instead of lighting up, her features fell. She looked away for a second, then back at him, and the look in her eyes made his stomach tighten. "What's going on?" Bob asked, his voice dropping. "Bob," Vicky began slowly, "I wouldn't be sitting here if this wasn't serious. And I need you to know I'm telling you this because I care about you. I care about both of you. But this could change everything between me and Sharon. I've thought about this a lot. And if there's any chance you can save your marriage, I have to speak up." She took a breath and then said it. "Sharon's been seeing someone. It's been going on for about 2 months." "You're joking," Bob said, the words flying out of his mouth before he could stop them. "I wish I were," Vicky said quietly. "I'm really sorry, Bob. I didn't want to be the one to bring this to you." She dropped her eyes to the table for a second, then looked back up. "It started not long after you began working on that big project. She changed, Bob. She was off at work, snappier, distracted. And when we went out, she just checked out. She looked bored, even when we were having fun." Vicky continued. "Then a few weeks ago, we were out having drinks, and she had one too many martinis. That's when it came out. She told us she missed you. Said she felt abandoned. That the two of you had become one of those couples just stuck in the motions, letting life pass by." Just then, the waiter arrived at their table. "I'll have the Cobb salad," Vicky told him. "And a lemon iced tea, please." As the waiter walked away, Bob sat in stunned silence. His mind was spinning. Sharon? Keeping this from him? That wasn't her. They had always been upfront with each other, even when things got tough. He turned to Vicky and asked the question that now burned through his brain. "Did she sleep with the guy?" Bob asked, his voice low and raw. Vicky shook her head. "Not that I know of," she said. "And believe it or not, I think I'd know. Sharon's never been good at hiding stuff." She leaned in, lowering her voice. "And here's the thing, Bob. Every woman I've talked to, me included, has felt like Sharon's been falling apart lately. When she vented to us, we got it. We told her she was hot, and yeah, that maybe you needed to be reminded what you've got. Vicky paused, eyes dropping to the table again. But my sister was there that night. Bob tensed. What does your sister have to do with this? He asked, keeping his voice level with effort. Vicky let out a long sigh. Look, Bob, my sister's a disaster, she said bluntly. At that moment, the waiter returned with her tea. He raised an eyebrow at her last comment but said nothing. Vicky gave a small, tired smile and took a sip. Our parents were a mess. Both of them cheated on each other, constantly. It was like a game. Revenge, spite, repeat. I was 17 when I finally asked them why they were even still together. You know what they said? Because we love each other. She rolled her eyes at the memory. That screwed us up in different ways. I came out of that knowing that cheating destroys love. My sister? She somehow decided the opposite. If you love someone, cheating is just a thing that happens. No big deal. Vicky looked up and met his eyes again. I love her, Bob. I do. But she's a damn idiot. Vicky shook her head, then leaned in again, lowering her voice like she was about to drop something heavy. Anyway, back to what I was saying, Vicky said. My sister Gary, yeah, she's got a guy's name, long story, blurts out, if Sharon ain't getting what she needs at home, maybe she should go find it somewhere else. Jesus Christ, Bob muttered. He wasn't even sure which part annoyed him more, Gary's logic or the fact that Sharon might have actually listened. I told her she was full of crap, Vicky said, nodding firmly. But then Hannah and Gail jumped in, talking about how to pick up new guys and how to keep things hush-hush like it was some damn Girl Scout workshop on infidelity. Look, I think for them it was more about theory than practice. They're both single, so what the hell do they know? But even though Sharon said right then she'd never do something behind your back, I swear to God, Gary's words planted a damn seed. Why do you think that? Bob asked. Now that the shock was wearing off, more things were starting to click in his head, and not in a good way. It was like his brain had flipped a switch. Everything he'd brushed off before now seemed like it might have meant something. He always believed it was better to know the truth, even if it hurt like hell. Because the very next week, Vicky said, Luke Jonas showed up at Red Horse, the bar we always go to, and brought his crew with him. She paused for effect. Sharon claims she didn't invite him, Vicky continued, but she did mention to him that we'd be trying out a group dance night. And yeah, that kind of thing's always more fun with extra people. Normally, I'd say the more the merrier, but this time, not with him. Now Bob had a name, Luke Jonas, knowledge is power. Tell me about that prick, Bob growled, his voice like gravel. Vicky caught the sharpness in his tone and gave a crooked half smile before answering. Luke Jonas is a well-known hunter, she said. I mean textbook. If there's a woman in the room, he's already trying to charm her. Doesn't matter if she's taken. Doesn't matter if she's a 10 or a 5. He just likes the chase. Your wife got his attention from day one. Up until that night, she held her ground. But now, she's not exactly fighting him off anymore. She's not standing still. She's moving toward him. Bob's jaw clenched, but he didn't interrupt. And the worst part? Vicky said, voice sharp now. Everyone knows if Luke gets hit with another maltreatment complaint, he's done. Career over. All she has to do is report him and he's out. But she won't. She's been sitting with him in the cafeteria every damn day for weeks, whispering, laughing like a damn schoolgirl. She narrowed her eyes, like the memory alone pissed her off. I tried bringing it up to her, Vicky said. She flipped out. Swore up and down they were just friends. Told me he listens, that he gets her. I straight up asked her, would you act like this if Bob was sitting at that table? And you know what? She blushed. She knew. But then she got defensive and threw out some line about how you don't even notice her anymore. Vicky leaned back, like the memory exhausted her. After that, I backed off, she said. But I started paying more attention, watching. She stabbed a piece of lettuce and chewed slowly. Bob hadn't said a word. His hand was still wrapped around his lemonade glass, the ice now melted. He took a sip but tasted nothing. His chest felt hollow, cold, like something had been ripped out. How the hell did Sharon think he wouldn't care about her cozying up to another guy like that? He had never been the jealous type. He trusted her, loved her, but that comment about him not noticing her, that hit a nerve. Had he gotten too wrapped up in work? Sure. The reward at the end of this project was massive. Big promotion, big payday. But at what cost? What happened 3 weeks ago? The thought came uninvited. Do I really want to know? They ate in tense silence for a few long minutes. Bob's mind was a spinning storm. Vicky's words kept echoing. Luke, drawers, cafeteria, giggles, dancing. He was furious. She shouldn't have gotten that close to another man, but damn it, he could almost understand how it got there. If he'd been more present, more tuned in, maybe she wouldn't have looked elsewhere. Still, hiding it from him, lying by omission, that cut deep. He had a choice now. Ignore it and try to fix things. Talk to her, lay it all out. If she came clean, if she agreed to drop that loser and refocus on them, they could make it through. Unless something had already happened. So tell me, Bob said, setting his fork down. Well, what happened 3 weeks ago? How bad was it? His voice was steady now. He'd caught his balance. Whatever came next, he'd handle it. Vicky looked at him with genuine sympathy. This is where it gets bad, Bob, she said softly. She let out a breath and began. 3 weeks ago, we ended up at a Red Horse again for another dance night. Luke and his boys showed up too. At first, it was fine. Everyone was having a good time, but Sharon, she was drinking way more than usual. Luke kept feeding her drinks all night, and before I knew it, she was totally lit. Bob's face tensed, but he stayed silent. I took her to the bathroom, Vicky went on. Didn't realize how gone she was until she stumbled out of the stall with her damn drawers balled up in her hand, and then she stuffed them into her purse. Bob's eyes widened. I asked her, what the hell are you doing? Vicky said. And she just laughed, said she wanted to feel free. She was wasted, Bob, like barely holding it together. I chalked it up to the booze and started rounding up Hannah and Gail to help me get her to crash at my place. She paused, took a breath, then continued. But then I saw her on the dance floor with Luke, and it wasn't dancing anymore. It was dry humping with rhythm, like full-on grinding. No shame. Bob's stomach turned. Group dancing ended, Vicky said, her voice quieter now. Jukebox music took over. I glanced back and saw her holding her underwear again. And when the song ended, she slid them into Luke's pocket. Bob froze. Everyone saw it, Vicky said grimly. Guys started whistling, shouting. Luke just stood there grinning like the smug fool he is. And then he kissed her. Not a quick peck. A full-on movie scene, grab-your-face, deep-A kiss. One of his buddies even recorded it. I kept waiting for her to pull away. Slap him, something. But she didn't. She just let it happen. Vicky fell silent when she saw the look on Bob's face. His jaw had dropped. His hands were shaking. Excuse me, Bob muttered, his voice tight. Just give me a sec. I need the bathroom. He stood up, moving stiffly like his joints didn't quite work, and walked straight to the restroom. Once inside, he locked the door behind him, splashed cold water on his face, and gripped the sink like it was the only thing keeping him upright. His mind drifted back to that night. Sharon usually got home from girls' night around 11:30, but that night, it was nearly 2:30 in the damn morning. Before that, Vicky had called and told him Sharon had overdone it on the drinks and she was going to let her crash at her place for a bit, maybe cab home later. That didn't seem weird. Stuff like that had happened before. Bob had always appreciated how her friends looked out for her. He'd rather she crash somewhere safe than risk getting pulled over or worse. He hadn't been mad. Not then. And he remembered what happened when she did finally come home. He remembered waking up to the way she touched him, her mouth, her body. That night they had sex like they hadn't in months. She was wild, fiery, almost desperate. They pushed each other to the edge again and again. Now, standing there gripping the sink like he might break it, Bob's stomach twisted with rage. Was that for me? He thought bitterly. Or was she still riding high from whatever the hell happened with Luke? Was she picturing that a-hole while she was clawing at my back? Was I just her way of shaking off the guilt? He splashed more water on his face, dried off with a paper towel, took a deep breath, and went back to the table. Vicky didn't say anything right away. She just watched him. His sandwich still sat there, untouched. What else do I need to know? Bob asked flatly, eyes locked on hers. Vicky hesitated, then answered. Honestly, that's most of it, she said. The last couple of hangouts have been tame. We've just been meeting up at Hannah's place. Some wine, small talk, a goofy little lingerie game we did at the office, but nothing wild. Sharon's been pretty cold toward Luke lately, like barely even looks at him, but he still follows her around like a damn puppy. I thought it was over. She sighed and looked away for a second. But just yesterday, I saw them talking, and the moment I turned the corner, they shut up like I caught them plotting a crime. So I don't know, Bob, she said quietly. She doesn't really talk to us anymore. She doesn't listen. I figured maybe you could still get through to her. That's why I told you someone had to. Just then, the waiter came over and laid the check on the table. Bob grabbed it before Vicky could even reach. He pulled out his wallet and slid his card in the folder. I want to catch him in the act, Bob said, his voice like steel. I'm not saying anything. I just want to see it with my own eyes. Sharon told me you girls are going back to Red Horse this Thursday, right? He paused when he saw Vicky's expression change, worried, almost scared. What? He asked. What did I say? Vicky reached across the table, resting her hand lightly over his. Bob, she said gently, Hannah's got a doctor's appointment early Friday. Gail's flying to Florida to see her brother. She took a breath. If Sharon goes out Thursday night, she won't be with us. That landed like a gut punch. I'm so sorry, sweetheart, she added, her voice cracking. I know it's pointless to ask if you're okay, but listen, here's my home number. She pulled out a small notepad, tore off a piece, and slid it over to him. You can call me or Ron anytime. Actually, Ron might be even more help than me. He's a marriage counselor, a damn good one. Bob swallowed hard, nodded slowly, and tucked the number into his wallet. Thanks for being honest, Vicky, he said. I know this couldn't have been easy, but you're a good person and a good friend. I don't know what happens next, but now I know what's going on, and I can deal with it. He stood, scribbled his name on the receipt, and walked out. Wednesday. Bob should have been on cloud 9. That afternoon, they'd secured a major supply deal with a Harrisburg-based startup. That one contract shaved 2 full months off the production timeline, even with delays. With 2 more calls, they'd have the whole pipeline locked and sealed. The military would save millions, his company would cash in. And Bob? He'd get a fat bonus and recognition for leading the project that pulled it all together. His name would be in reports, maybe even headlines. But he didn't feel victorious, not even close. All he could think about was how much he didn't want to go home, not with everything he knew now. He sat in his office and stared blankly at his screen. He didn't have access to Sharon's work email. It was monitored by HR anyway, and she wasn't stupid. If she was hiding something, she sure as hell wasn't using her company account. He tried logging into her old Yahoo account. Nothing shady, just junk mail and coupons. Still, she could have made a burner account. If she did, it'd probably be on the home computer. That was the problem. Bob wasn't exactly a tech genius. He'd thought about installing cameras or voice recorders, but he wasn't there yet. For now, he needed a simpler plan. Dig up whatever he could, figure out exactly how deep this went, and then decide. Save the marriage or burn the whole thing to the ground. Sharon had already picked up Casey from his parents' house without telling him. And now she was texting him like nothing was wrong. He'd asked what she wanted for dinner. Her reply came in like sugar syrup. After 10 years together and 8 of them married, you should know by now that I love you, baby. Bob didn't even hesitate before firing back. Just wanted to make sure you're still happy with how things are. His phone rang immediately. You're right, Sharon said on the line. Bring me an extra roll. If this had been any other week, Bob would have been happy to clock out early, grab some takeout, and head home to his wife and daughter. But now, every minute felt like a performance. And when he checked the clock, it hit him. Before the project started, he wouldn't even be home yet. He'd usually show up 2 hours later. Even when he was physically home, he'd been tired, distracted, buried in deadlines. He could see now why she might have felt ignored. But none of it, gave her the right to do what she did. When Bob stepped through the front door, the first thing he saw was Sharon reaching for a bottle of wine. He paused right there in the entryway and just watched her. She stood by the kitchen counter, casual in a loose sweatshirt and gray sweatpants. Even in that lazy outfit, her body still had curves that could stop traffic. 5 feet tall. But damn if she didn't know how to work every inch of it. Her ponytail swung slightly as she moved. And when she turned and flashed that bright, all too familiar smile at him, for a moment, just a moment, he forgot everything. Hey, baby, Sharon said, walking toward him with that bounce in her step. You're home early. How was work? She kissed him, soft and quick on the lips. Not bad, Bob replied, forcing his tone to sound relaxed. We landed a big win on the supply side, locked in parts ahead of schedule. Might wrap this thing up a whole month early. He set the takeout bags on the counter, then turned to face her directly. Look, I know I've been buried in this project for weeks, and yeah, it sucks. I can't talk about it. Classified stuff. But you and Casey, you're the reason I do any of this. Everything I'm working for is to protect what we've got. He looked into her eyes, trying to read them. Was there guilt there? Shame? Was he just imagining it? That was the part he hated. He couldn't read people the way other folks could. He was known for being blunt. Direct. The guy who said what he meant and expected the same. That worked in business. Hell, it worked everywhere, except maybe marriage. "Oh, honey," Sharon said, voice going soft. "You have no idea how much it means to hear that. Yeah, it's been lonely. I'm not gonna lie. But I've always understood why. And it helps so much that you're saying it out loud." Her eyes shimmered a little like she might cry, but Bob couldn't tell if it was real or just part of the act. "So?" she asked, opening the takeout containers. "What does finishing early mean for you exactly?" Bob stabbed at the sweet and sour pork with chopsticks, then gave up and grabbed a fork. "First off," he said, "I'm getting a serious bonus. No clue how big yet, depends on the final numbers, but it won't be chump change. Second, this was our first government contract, and we nailed it. So more contracts are probably coming. And since I led this thing, I'm already hearing that the feds might try to poach me. My bosses know that. So they'll probably start throwing offers at me to keep me put." He paused, chewing, then added with a smirk, "Didn't I already tell you all this?" "Nope," Sharon said, smiling as she dished some rice. "All I remember is you talking about some top secret job you couldn't explain, and then not talking much at all." She looked a little sad for a second, then shrugged and smiled again. "But hey, maybe now I'm getting my husband back." Bob gave a small nod, then asked casually, "So what bar are you ladies hitting tomorrow night? Want me to swing by after work, play the sober chauffeur?" "Actually," Sharon said, eyes on her orange chicken, "we're thinking Red Horse again. Just some group dancing, nothing crazy. You'll probably still be at work when we're wrapping up." Bob's stomach dropped. His heart clenched, but he didn't let it show. Just then, Casey finished her egg roll and tugged at his sleeve. "Daddy, will you read me a story?" she asked. "Of course, Munchkin," Bob said, standing up and rinsing his plate. He scooped her up in his arms and carried her to the living room. For the next hour, he gave her everything. His time, his voice, his calm. He read book after book until her little body slumped in his arms, fast asleep. When he glanced over, he saw Sharon curled up on the couch, a book open in her lap, also asleep. He picked Casey up and brought her upstairs, careful not to wake her. He tucked her in tight, kissed her forehead, and paused for a second, his eyes suddenly wet. Let her remember these nights, he thought, not what's coming next. He wiped his face quickly and headed back downstairs. Sharon was still out cold, curled into herself on the couch. He leaned down and kissed her softly, pulled a blanket over her, then went into their bedroom. He knew what he was about to do. He found her phone charging on the nightstand, unplugged it, swiped up, and, like always, no passcode. He started scrolling through her messages. It didn't take long. He scrolled all the way back to messages from a few months ago. Luke. Hey, beautiful. Last night was fun. Loved watching you girls dance. Sharon. Same. Bob works late on Thursdays, and Casey stays with his folks, so we had the night to ourselves. Luke. Your husband's a good man, letting you do your thing. Sharon. Yeah, he is. The early stuff was innocent, friendly. Then it changed. Sharon. Vicky gave me a whole speech at lunch. She caught on. I was pissed, but she's not wrong. Luke. Yeah, people can twist stuff real easy, but hey, it's harmless. We haven't done anything wrong. Sharon. She asked how Bob would feel if he saw us together like that. It got me thinking, maybe we do give off the wrong vibe. I probably shouldn't be telling you everything. I'll try to talk to Bob. Luke. I get that, but if he's not giving you what you need, you know I'm around. I'll take you to dinner. Just as friends. Bob couldn't remember her trying to talk to him. Maybe it was around the time he was buried in specs and scrambling for a steel supplier. He wouldn't have heard a bomb go off back then. He kept scrolling. Luke. You need to give them back today. Sharon. Seriously? My girls are furious with me. And I don't blame them. If Bob finds out I acted like some drunk hoe, I might lose everything. Luke. So you don't want me to show him the video? Sharon. What video? Oh God, no one at work can see that. Luke. Sam filmed it. I'll make sure he deletes it, but hey, You owe me. Sharon. Okay, just, I can't lose Bob. Not after last night. Luke. What happened last night? Sharon. None of your damn business. Luke. Let me guess. He flipped out that you came home drunk? Sharon. Hardly. Let's just say. Something happened that reminded me what I really want. Luke. So that little grind session with me made you appreciate your man more? He should be thanking me. Sharon. You're such an A. What happened last night was perfect, because it was with Bob. Now give me back my underwear and get rid of that damn video. Luke. Damn, you sound like you actually feel guilty. Sharon. Bob deserves better than me. Luke. Nah, he's lucky. But I get it. He's probably been watching you, huh? He seems like the type. Good guy, but always at work. You've been going out solo a lot. Sharon. I don't need anyone checking up on me. Just be the friend you claim to be and handle the video. Please. And sorry. Luke. Don't worry, I'll deal with it. Then you can pay me back with dinner. Just make sure that clip's buried, and then I'll do whatever you ask. There hadn't been anything new, nothing, until last Monday. That's when Bob found the next set of messages. Luke. Heard the girls' night's off. How about grabbing dinner with me instead? Sharon. Yeah, that's not really a good idea. Luke. Come on, your hubby's working late, and your friends bailed on you. Just one dinner, two old pals catching up like back in the cafeteria days. No big deal. Plus, you kinda owe me. Sharon. Fine, I'll meet you at Red Horse at 8. Luke. Nah, let's skip the loud drunks. Meet me at the TGIF inside the Sheraton. Drinks are better and it's quieter. If we end up having too many, I'll grab us a room. Sharon. All right, but this is just dinner. 2 friends, nothing more. And yes, I know I owe you. Thanks for making sure that video didn't go public. It's bad enough some people at work heard about that night. Luke. Relax. I watched Sam delete it, and give it a week. Someone else will do something dumb and everyone will forget. See you at 8. That was the last message in the thread. Bob stared at the screen, cold creeping through his chest. This wasn't flirting anymore. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a setup, a hotel bar, the hint of a room. His wife agreeing to meet a man who had blackmail leverage over her. This was a date. He closed the messaging app, locked the phone, and plugged it back in on her nightstand like nothing had happened. Then he stripped down, climbed into bed beside her, and stared at the ceiling for hours while she slept. She snored softly, tucked into her side of the bed, breathing easy, like she didn't have a care in the damn world. Bob? He didn't sleep a minute. Thursday. She strutted down the stairs in that tight black dress, the same one she used to wear when she wanted him drooling. Hair curled, heels clicking, perfume trailing behind like she was about to star in a damn music video. Then she saw him and stopped cold. Bob, baby, I didn't think you'd be home this early. Her voice cracked. She went pale fast, like a ghost just smacked her in the face. Bob didn't move. He sat at the table, elbows on the wood, eyes fixed on her like she was a problem he was about to erase. Sit down, he said flatly. Now, she blinked. Can we just I said sit the F down, Sharon. She sat. Tried to reach for his hand, all soft and innocent like she hadn't just been planning a hotel date with another man. He pulled away like she was poison. He didn't raise his voice. Didn't need to. There's no bachelorette party tonight, he said, because I know you've been sneaking around with that sack of crap Luke Jonas. Her mouth opened. Nothing came out. I know about the parking lot kiss. I know about Red Horse. I know you shoved your A into his lap and gave him your damn drawers like some aroused teenager at prom. You were dry humping him on the dance floor while I was home putting our kid to bed. Bob, don't freaking interrupt. He leaned in, eyes like ice. You only jumped me in bed that night because he got you revved up and you needed a body. That's all I was to you, a cleanup job. And tonight, TGIF, right? Real classy, hotel bar. You think I didn't find the reservation in your inbox? You were going to screw him, weren't you? Tell me. She looked down. Jesus, he muttered. You can't even deny it. He let that sit. Look at me. She didn't. Look at me, Sharon. She looked up, teary-eyed. You've been lying every damn day about where you're going, who you're with, what you're doing, and I let it slide. You played me. You laughed at me behind my back with that smug, greasy fool who probably high-fived his buddies every time he got a little closer to wrecking our marriage. He held up a finger. You've got three options. Finger 1. Walk out the door. Go to your lover. Don't come back. Don't text. Don't call. You're done. Marriage over. I won't look back. No tears. No nonsense. You're out. Finger 2. You stay. You sit your A down and you fight like hell for this marriage. You cry. You beg. You do what it takes. Maybe, just maybe, I give a damn enough to try. I'm not promising anything, but if I see fight in you, I might swing back. Finger 3. You take me with you tonight. We walk into that hotel together. You tell Luke to his face that he's done, that he doesn't mean damn to you anymore, and then I get 15 minutes alone with him, just me and him. If you haven't screwed him yet, that's the only chance you've got at saving this mess. Only one. Silence. Sharon looked like she might puke all over her shiny heels. 0, 50, or 100, Bob said. Pick one. She sniffled, wiped her nose. Bob, I screwed up, I know. But if you're coming with me, then who's driving? He scoffed, grabbed the keys. You really think I'd let you drive? They walked to the garage. He opened her door out of habit. She nearly cried again. As he backed the car out, she whispered, I ruined us, didn't I? He didn't even look at her. Yeah, Sharon, you blew it to hell. What can I do? She asked, barely audible. First, stop lying. Tell me everything. Every little filthy thing. Don't hold back. You owe me that. She nodded weakly. Second, Luke's done. You don't look at him. You don't text him. You don't ask how his weekend was. You see him in the break room. You walk your A out. If he breathes your direction, you call me. Understand? Yes, he wasn't done. And when we get back, you lay it all out, all of it. If you've got anger toward me, say it. If you feel neglected, own it. But don't you dare act like that gives you a pass to screw around. She nodded again. And last, he said, voice low and sharp, you book us a damn marriage counselor. You find one, you call, and you set the date. Tomorrow. No excuses. Whether or not I show up depends on how tonight ends. Her phone buzzed. She looked down. It's him, she said quietly. He's wondering where I am. Bob reached out his hand, palm open. He didn't have to say a word. Sharon looked at him, lips slightly parted like she might protest. But then she dropped her phone into his hand without a sound. He unlocked it and scrolled straight to her messages. A few texts from earlier that day hit him like a punch to the chest. Luke, got us a hotel room with a jacuzzi. Thought we could kick back after lunch. Don't forget your bikini. Sharon, you seriously think I'd take a bath with you? Not happening. I'm not bringing a swimsuit. Luke, we'll see. You know how you get when you've had a few drinks? Might not need a bikini at all. Then the most recent exchange from minutes ago. Luke, where are you? I've already started on a glass of wine while I wait. Bob's fingers flew across the screen as he typed back. Bob, pretending to be Sharon, running a little behind. Got a surprise for you? A second later, Luke replied, Luke, let me guess. You did bring the bikini. Perfect. He shoved the phone back into her hands. Read it, he said. Go ahead. That's today's little love story between you and Loverboy. She stared at the screen for a long beat, then lowered her head like a kid caught stealing. Bob just shook his head. You do realize this doesn't help your case, right? He said. Those texts make it crystal clear you were gearing up to get laid tonight. What do you think happens if I scroll back a few more days, huh? What kind of crap am I going to find then? He already knew. He just wanted her to squirm. I mean, hell. Do you think that kind of flirting's normal? Married woman texting some greasy A coworker like she's single and ready to get wrecked? You know damn well what this did to whatever trust I had left. She let out a quiet sob. Bob, I swear, I was just going for dinner. I wasn't going to sleep with him. He turned toward her, slow eyes burning through her. Oh, really? He said, voice sharp. What was it this time? Just dinner like last time? Before or after you gave him your drawers again? Was that before or after you ground on his lap like some club rat trying to win a free drink? Her face went blank. Colorless. Dead. He wasn't done. We're almost there, he muttered. Fix your face. And think real hard about what the hell you're about to say to him. And don't even touch the wine list. She pulled the visor down, snatched a napkin, and started dabbing at her smudged eyeliner. He watched her coldly, like she was a stranger he'd lost all respect for. Her voice came back, calm but calculating. You know what? Listening to you, I think you might be right. Maybe Luke was using me. Maybe I didn't see it. I mean, I've turned down better men than him. Classier. Better looking. So why the hell him? That's the part I still don't get, Bob scoffed. I'll tell you why. 'Cause he told you what you wanted to hear while I was busting my A to give you a life. He made you feel seen, and you fell for it like a dumbass. Don't blame him for being a dog. You opened the damn door. She stayed silent. He continued. You're not stupid, Sharon. You're damn smart. That's what makes this worse. So, I need to ask you straight. Did you do this on purpose? Did you want this? She looked away, bitter. Wow. Just imagine that. I sneak off with some greasy clown, lie to my husband's face, pretend it's just dinner, and I expect you to trust me? No crap, you're pissed. I'd be pissed too. Some color came back to her cheeks. A little attitude. A little fire. She straightened up, like she was trying to dig herself out of a grave with her bare hands. All right? I freaked up. I own that. I don't want to lose you, so I'll fix it, whatever it takes. And thank you for not walking out yet. She leaned over to kiss him. Instinct. Habit. He turned his face and let her land it on his cheek. Cold. Distant. She blinked. That shook her more than anything else. Hopefully, we can get back to us, she whispered. He didn't answer. They pulled into the restaurant parking lot. She looked at him, nervous, shaky. What do you want me to say to him? Bob cut the engine, looked at her like she was dirt under his boot. What do I want you to say? He snapped. I want you to tell him that this little fantasy is over, that he doesn't get to screw another man's wife and walk off smirking. I want you to rip his ego in half the way you did to mine, but mostly, I want you to make it damn clear. There's no door open, not even a crack. You slammed it shut, and if he even thinks about knocking again, I'm the one he'll deal with. She sat in silence for a second. Then she let out a long, shaky breath, popped the door open, and stepped out of the car like she was walking into a firing squad. As they approached the hotel restaurant, she reached out for Bob's hand. He didn't pull away, but he sure as hell didn't hold it. They walked in, the place buzzing with happy hour noise and bad 2010 S-pop music. At the hostess stand, a red-headed girl greeted them with a smile that instantly died when she caught their body language. Hi, welcome to TGI Fridays, table for two. We're meeting someone, Sharon said flatly, beating Bob to it. The girl nodded. Oh, okay, he's already here. You can head right in. Bob scanned the room. Nothing. Until Sharon gave him a tiny nod toward the back, near the hotel entrance. There he was, slim, cocky, on his phone, looking like he thought he owned the place. Luke. Bob could feel the heat rising in his chest. Sharon walked over first, posture stiff but steady, stopping just short of the table. Bob stayed a step behind, arms crossed. Luke looked up, grinning, until he saw Bob. That grin vanished like someone pulled the plug. Luke, Sharon said. This is my husband, Robert Morgan. Luke's jaw tightened. He stayed seated, eyes flicking between them. He's concerned about our friendship, Sharon continued. And after hearing him out, I get it. He's right. I messed up. She kept going, eyes locked on Luke like she was reading off a damn confession. I gave him a reason not to trust me, and I need to earn that back. That starts by cutting you out completely. No more calls, no texts, no random nonsense at work. We're done. If you try anything else, I'll go to HR and report it as maltreatment. And I'll make sure it sticks. Luke opened his mouth to talk. She shut him down. He knows about Red Horse. He knows everything, so don't try spinning it. She glanced at Bob once, then turned back to Luke. I'll be at the bar while my husband has a word with you. She leaned in to kiss Bob's cheek, more of a formality than affection, and whispered, I'm sorry. Bob didn't reply, just watched her walk away without saying a damn word. Then he dropped into the seat across from Luke like he owned the building. Luke stared, hands locked tight around the stem of the wine glass he'd ordered. For Sharon. Bob smirked. That hers? He asked, nodding at the wine. Cute. Luke said nothing. Bob leaned back, real casual. So, what was the plan tonight? Jacuzzi, champagne, cheap lies, then maybe get lucky. Luke sat up, fake smile already cracking. You really think she told you everything? Oh, I know she didn't, Bob said. She's been a wreck the last few days, so I've had to piece crap together. But trust me, I've been married to that woman for 8 years. You've known her for what? 3 months? 4? You don't know her. You know a version of her she gave you. And it ain't the real thing. The waiter arrived. Bob didn't even look at the menu. Double Johnny Black, Rocks. Luke tried to smirk again. She's good in bed, huh? Bob didn't flinch. He smiled, slow and deadly. She is, he said, but I don't think you'd know. Luke's grin twitched, his confidence wobbling. You want proof? He asked, trying to sound bold. I've got pictures. Bob let out a single cold laugh. No, you don't, he said. Because if you had her, you wouldn't have had to try anything else. You'd be bragging, not bluffing. So here's my guess. You thought if you got her just drunk enough, maybe she'd cross that last line. Luke blinked. Bob saw it. That flicker. That flash of guilt. Gotcha. You put something in her drink? Bob asked calmly. GHB? Roofie? Or were you going for ecstasy, Mr. Smooth? Luke's face twisted. Anger, fear, both. Bob leaned in close, voice low and razor sharp. You slipped something in her drink and thought no one would find out. You're a sick little crap. And honestly, I should drag you out back and knock you until your own mother doesn't recognize your face. But I'm not going to jail for a bottom feeder like you. Bob sat up straighter, deadly calm now. I gave Sharon 3 choices earlier. Now you get yours. He held up one finger. Option 1, you get the hell up, walk to that bar, apologize to my wife, then quit your damn job tomorrow. Pack your crap and disappear. If you do that, I won't follow you. Second finger. Option 2, you walk into a precinct and tell them exactly what you tried to do. You do your time, you leave her alone, and when you get out, same deal. You disappear. Third finger. Option 3, we both signed up for a boxing class, 4 weeks. You show up, no gear, no refs, just 2 guys in a ring. We fight until one of us doesn't get back up. Then you leave, for good. The waiter brought his drink. Bob took a slow sip, letting the burn settle in. Luke scoffed. You think I'm going to agree to any of that? Bob gave him a look. Not angry, not loud, just cold. You will, Bob said, because if you don't, you'll never sleep again. Every time you walk out to your car at night, you'll wonder if I'm behind you with a crowbar. Every knock at your door, every unknown number calling your phone, every shadow on the sidewalk, you'll flinch. He took another sip. You'll look over your shoulder until your nerves are shot and your hair turns gray. And one day, it won't be me. It'll be one of my guys. Maybe a neighbor, maybe her brother, maybe just someone I hired on Craigslist who doesn't ask questions. And then, he leaned in one last time. They won't stop at your knees, Luke. They'll go for your balls. And I'll watch the video with popcorn. Luke opened his mouth, but Bob cut him off. Oh, and one last thing, Bob said, voice quiet now, almost amused. You know what Sharon called me last night? A teddy bear, her teddy bear. He leaned back, finished his drink. Right after I screwed her in the same bed you were hoping to get lucky in. Luke's face went red, his neck blotchy like a kid caught shoplifting. Bob didn't even blink. He raised his glass again, took a slow drink of scotch, and with the other hand, casually slid his phone out of his pocket under the table. He tapped the screen. The recorder app lit up, red dot blinking. Time to get the fool on tape. Bob leaned back, acting cool like he was just making conversation. So, he said, should have planned better, huh? Luke looked around, panicked now. The cocky mask had cracked. His voice came out low, almost like he was whispering to himself. Yeah, I should have planned this better tonight. Bob leaned in, jaw clenched. You mean sedating my wife? You mean dragging her up to that room and doing God knows what while she's too out of it to stop you? Luke looked down at his lap. Bob's voice dropped to a near growl. Icy, controlled, deadly. Let's cut the nonsense. You were going to force yourself on my wife, and not alone. You were planning to hand her off to your little dirtbag friends. That's what this was. Luke's hands twitched. He looked like he wanted to bolt. Bob didn't let up. So I'll ask you once, real clear. You want to bet your face, your future, your whole damn life that I won't bury you and anyone else you brought into this sick little plan? Luke sat frozen. Then, without thinking, without filtering like a cornered animal, the pills were just to loosen her up, he muttered. When I brought my guys, we were all gonna... That was it. Bob's calm shattered. He exploded forward like a loaded spring, grabbed Luke by the collar with one hand and ripped him across the table like a rag doll. Glasses toppled, silverware clattered. In one brutal motion, Bob's right fist came up fast and smashed into Luke's face with a sick, wet crunch. Luke howled, blood spraying instantly from his nose. You sick little mother f... Bob yanked him again, nearly slamming Luke's head into the edge of the table. You were gonna do what? With who? Say it again! Which? Luke shrieked, grabbing at his face. Jesus, I'm calling the cops! You broke my nose. Bob stood up over him, towering, breathing hard. He didn't care who in the restaurant saw. Call him, Bob barked. Please, let him check the security cams, run a test on that wine for GHB, and play back the audio I just recorded of you admitting you and your crew were going to force yourselves on my wife. I'll take the attack charge if it means you rot in prison. Cops rolled in fast. 2 patrol guys had been eating across the street. They took statements, bagged the wine glass, and searched Luke. When they pulled white powder from his pocket, he shut up and asked for a lawyer. They played Bob's phone recording. Audio was rough, but clear. Luke talked about pills, about gang attack. It was almost 4 a.m. before Bob and Sharon were allowed to leave. After her statement, a cop pulled her aside, told her she was lucky that her husband just saved her from something real bad. Sharon looked wrecked. Luke stayed locked up. They used Sharon's phone to call Bob's parents, told them everything. His folks stayed calm, said they'd keep Casey another day and take her to the zoo. She'll love that, Sharon whispered. Back at home, they sat in the garage in silence. Sharon leaned across, hugged Bob hard, face buried in his shoulder. She started crying. He let her cry for a bit, then gently pulled back. Sharon, we need to talk, but not now. It's late. Let's sleep. Tomorrow, we take the day. Just us. Figure out what the hell comes next, cool? She nodded. Yeah, sleep sounds good. Then softer. Can I sleep with you? Of course, baby. Next morning, he woke up with his arm around her. She felt warm, familiar. For a second, he wondered if they might be okay. But they weren't there yet. She grabbed his hand, pressed it to her chest. He felt a spark, then pulled away. Not yet, he said. I'm not there. He gave her a light smack on the bum. Let's walk. Heavy talks on an empty stomach's a bad move. They showered quick, awkward, and hit IHOP. Kept the talk light, joked about Casey and the zoo, tried to act normal. After coffee, they paid and drove home. In the kitchen, they sat across from each other. Bob sighed. All right, I'll go first. He paused. We agree. Luke's a dirtbag. No need to keep beating that drum, but he said some crap, like you pleased him. That you called me a teddy bear after sleeping with him. That's all lies, Sharon cut in. The worst thing I did was that night at Red Horse. I know it was bad, but I never slept with him, never went that far. Bob stared at her. How do I know that? You lied about the date. You didn't tell me the truth about the bar. You hid the whole damn thing. I can't just take your word now. She looked down, quiet. I've been thinking about that too, she said. How to make you believe me? Then suddenly, what if I took a polygraph? Bob blinked. A what? A lie detector. I'll do it. You pick the time, place, ask me anything. That hit him. She looked serious. Polygraphs weren't perfect, but it was something. I'll look into it, he said. Okay, she nodded. It's a start. We'll talk more about all this later. He hesitated. I got a tougher one. Hurts more. She sat up, tense. You lied. Said you were going out with the girls, but you had dinner with him. That wasn't a slip-up. That was a straight-up cold lie, and it wrecked me. His voice cracked, but he kept eye contact. I'm sorry, she whispered. When you got deep into that project, it was the first time I felt like I didn't matter. I'm not blaming you or the job. I get it. But I felt small, and I let that eat at me. Her eyes welled up. I was low, depressed. Then she added something that stuck with him. Vicky said something once. Told me maybe I should look for romance somewhere else. I didn't think that meant cheating, but it planted a seed. And while you were buried in work, I started thinking maybe I'd find what I needed elsewhere. She paused, looked ashamed. And Luke showed up, and I didn't realize it at the time, but he made me feel seen. He asked about my day, about Casey, about stuff I liked. Mostly, he just listened. And yeah, we talked about me a lot. Sharon let out a long sigh, eyes locked on Bob. He didn't blink. Just sat still. She kept going. When Vicky called me out at lunch, I finally saw it. I was using Luke to fill a gap, something I thought I wasn't getting from you. And yeah, that calmed me down. Back then, I really thought he was just a friend. I still wanted us to work. She took a shaky breath. That night, when crap blew up, I didn't invite him or his friends. I got there early. They showed up before the girls. Luke bought drinks for everyone, including me. I got drunk, really drunk. Drunker than I've been since we met. She dropped her gaze. I did some dumb, ugly crap that night. You saw it, but then we came home, and we had that crazy good sex, and it messed me up. Like, how the hell could I act like a hoe at the bar, and then come home and feel something that real with you? She stood, grabbed water, drank half, came back. Then the video dropped. I knew you'd lose it. If you'd done what I did, got drunk, kissed some chick on the dance floor, I'd have lost my mind too. Her voice cracked. And it was worse because of the Zex. You'd start thinking, was I thinking of someone else while we were doing it? I panicked. I messed up again. She swallowed. I asked Luke to cover for me. Maybe he helped. Maybe he just wanted leverage. Then he asked me for a favor. Dinner. My girls bailed. I felt alone. You weren't supposed to be home till late, so I said yes. Another screw up. Her voice softened. I'm sorry, Bob. We built our thing on trust, and I blew it. Tears ran down her face, but she didn't sob. Just sat there, wrecked, honest, raw. Bob stood up, pulled her into a hug, held her close, kissed her deep. Then he stepped back, hands on her shoulders. We're not fixed, he said. But if you're all in, I'm in too. Sharon nodded. They started therapy. Talking helped. After a few sessions, the therapist said Sharon should get her hormones checked. Birth control was messing with her more than expected. She switched meds. Her mood lifted. They weren't back, but they were trying. The polygraph results came in. She told the truth on every big question. Bob didn't fully trust the tech, but it helped. Bob took up boxing. Sharon joined a women's defense class at the same gym. That turned into their thing. Thursdays stopped being girls' night. They trained together. She even signed them up for couples martial arts. She was fast, strong, better than him, honestly. Sparring turned into foreplay, some of the best they ever had. The government project finished 6 weeks early and under budget. Bob's company offered him a VP job. He passed. It meant too much travel. Instead, he pitched and now runs the special projects team. New office, new assistant. She's got a killer smile and a hot body. Doesn't matter. Sharon checks every box now. No one at work cares how much time they spend together. The job's getting done. The money's rolling in. Most of Bob's $38K bonus went into Casey's college fund. The rest? A week in paradise with Sharon. His parents were happy to babysit. Yeah, he caught an attack charge for decking Luke. Cost him $300 and 40 hours of community service. Best $300 I ever spent, Bob muttered. Worth every damn hour. Luke got 3 to 5 years for attempted attack and pill possession. The white powder was GHB, the date forcible act pill. Not long after, Luke got jumped walking to his car. Someone knocked the hell out of him. Wasn't Bob. Turns out one of Luke's other sufferers had a brother who didn't care about courtrooms. That guy got 2 to 3 years for the beatdown. Every month, Bob slips $50 into his prison commissary account. Quiet thanks. A little message. Sometimes justice comes the hard way.